Hey, what's up guys? So today we're going to be showing off the new Necromancer set coming out in Season 21 for Diablo 3, aka patch 2.6.9. So let's go ahead and go over what the heck this new set is. So it's a Bone Spear build. This is going to be the Masquerade of the Burning Carnival build. So just as a heads up, this will be the best build currently as of right now over on the PTR. But keep in mind things are of course subject to change with the PTR. But at the moment this is the best build for the Bone Spear Necromancer, but it is not the best build for Necromancer, period. But anyways, let's go ahead and hop right into it. So let's go and do a brief little explanation of the build. We'll get you guys some gameplay. I'll go more in depth on the entire build, and then we're going to go ahead and showcase off a speed variant of this. So Masquerade of the Burning Carnival's two-piece bonus makes it so simulacrums no longer take damage, you gain all the runes, and its cooldown is refreshed when you die. With a 4-piece bonus, while you have simulacrum, damage is reduced by 50%, and damage you take is split with your simulacrums as well. With a 6-piece bonus, your Bone Spear deals 10,000% increased damage, and simulacrums gain triple this bonus. So most of your damage will actually be coming from your simulacrums, which is the pets that mirror some of your abilities. And there's also a new buff with the Haunted Visions, which is the amulet, which makes it so simulacrum now drains 1% of your maximum life every second, and it lasts forever. That's the most important part. And now they duplicate Grim Scythe instead of Skeletal Mage. So there's kind of a nerf to a different Necromancer build, but it doesn't matter for this version of it. But that's pretty much what we're going to be doing most for damage with. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the gameplay of this build, and then we'll show off another speed variant, because a lot of people feel like this build might be too hard to play, or there's no reason really to play it other than because it's a new set. It's not the fastest build for Necromancer, nor is it the best for Greater Rift pushing. But anyways, let's go and show off some gameplay, and I'll explain how the heck to play it. So our build is going to be revolved around physical, but there are lots of other viable options. Poison is also very viable. So as far as the gameplay goes, just go and activate your Simulacrum. It will last forever. And then when you're out of resource, Grim Scythe is going to go ahead and give you resource. We'll use Blood Rush to give us extra survivability. And then Bone Armor is going to actually increase our damage of Bone Spear. So we'll want to keep this up at 10 stacks as much as possible, but we do have to have a target in range. And that is because with Scythe of the Cycle, we're going to be dealing massive amounts of bonus damage. So let's go ahead and just go up to the enemies and just go ahead and start eliminating them. We got knocked back over here by the enemy. We won't take the channeling pylon because I want to show you guys the gameplay in its like actual entirety, if that makes sense, without having something else mess with our numbers. So this build could easily push GR 100, no problem, but because I want to show you guys multiple builds here, I will have to not go into a Greater Rift. And we are on Torment 16, so it can clear it out just like most Diablo builds. Torment 16, no problem at all. But once we're out of a resource, you can see you gain your resource back very, very fast, which is because the simulacrums also will be using our Grim Scythe. And so that's pretty much how you play this build. I want to go ahead and also show you guys the speed build because it's a lot more entertaining to play. But going over these pieces of gear first, and then I'll show you guys the other build. So again, this is currently the highest ranked build for this one. Now, what's interesting with this one, you don't really have to focus in on cooldown reduction. I know a lot of builds for anything in Diablo really focuses on cooldown, but this one doesn't really need it because they will last forever. However, with extra cooldown, you can keep Blood Rush up, and you can spam Bone Armor a little bit faster. But for the most part, you'll be a-okay just with a little bit of cooldown. There's nothing in particular that you really need to look out for. Just like every other Diablo build, crit hit chance, crit hit damage, as well as area damage can be ideal. But since the majority of your damage comes from your pets, you definitely want to have Enforcer. For our gems, there's a little bit of play with what you can have. Enforcer is going to be one of the better ones because you're using your pets here to deal most of your damage from that triple bonus. And then Zaystone of Vengeance is excellent as well. It's also great for that chance to stun an enemy, and that's going to give us extra bonus damage from our Crispin Sentence from the secondary, where we get to have triple the bonus increased damage from anyone that is affected by another control impairing effect. So Zaystone of Vengeance is great, and then Bane of the Trapped is also another great option. Over in the leaderboard, currently there's a lot of people also using Bane of the Stricken as well as Gogok of Swiftness, just because when you're able to attack faster, remember, our simulacrums are also going to be casting their attacks faster. And if you think about it this way, with anything that's giving you increased attack speed, theoretically you're actually doubling it because you're getting 2 of them. So it's actually very valuable to get attack speed. Some people have also been using the other gem that will also grant you those frenzy stacks that will give you faster charges. Not the Echoing Fury, but the other gem, which is going to be this one over here, the Pain Enhancer, where it's gain blood frenzy and granting you increased attack speed. There have been people that were using this on the leaderboard as well. I just want to go ahead and mention that for the gems really quick. But in terms of the pieces of gear, what you're really looking forward to is getting that Bone Spear damage on your pieces of gear, which will be in the helm, the boots, as well as the offhand. You don't worry about what the offhand is. It's completely unnecessary for the most part, unless you're running the cold speed build. But I'll mouse over all the pieces of gear that you're kind of looking forward to obtaining, and pretty much, again, crit hit chance, crit hit damage. You don't need main stat. You can actually roll main stat off for a physical, just like you can with all the other builds. As far as the gems go, you don't need int ones. You can run ones that will give you armor, but having the gem in the helm that reduces the resource cost, the topaz, will be ideal. And then Ancient Parthian Defenders, so you can have extra survivability because Necromancer is still very squishy. Crispin Sentence, and then the Dainty's Binding for damage reduction here, and then Unity for more survivability. Again, pretty much the same thing that you're looking forward to on every Necromancer build. Nothing too important to mention. However, on the secondary, on your offhand, you do want to have something that can immobilize, freeze, slow, whatever the case may be on the secondary, because again, with Crispin Sentence, that will proc the bonus damage without you having to physically get in close range and use your bone armor for the stun effect. But as far as our runes go, bone armor at dislocation, actually I'm going to open up this because I feel like it looks a lot nicer. So Frailty, Aura of Frailty, and then we have Simulacrum. It doesn't matter which rune you select because you'll get all of them. Bone Armor, Dislocation, Bone Spear, Shatter. So this is the physical build. You can run Poison if you want, and Cold. I would say those are the most viable options. And then Blood Rush Potency for survivability, and then Grim Scythe, Blood Scythe over here is what the guy that's rank 1 is running, but you can actually run a couple different ones, to be honest. As far as our passive skills, Bone Prison is actually very important because it will lock them down so they can't move, and helps out quite a bit, also with Crispins. And then Spreading Malediction over here, so more damage when they are affected by your curses. And then Serration, it's going to go ahead and make it so Bone Spear and some other abilities, but the only thing that matters is Bone Spear will deal 1% increased damage for every 1.5 yards from you, so up to 20% bonus damage with Bone Spear, and then Standalone for more survivability. So that is going to be the more meta-ish build. Again, you can definitely run other things in terms of the runes, but for the most part, that's pretty much what everyone's running. Now, going into the speed build, because a lot of people felt like this build was kind of slow with Grim Scythe needing to be activated, even though you only have to use it like once or twice. I know there's people that just want to spam the main ability with Bone Spear, and this build is going to be much faster. So this is more so for like T16 speeds versus pushing for the highest greater rift. So the differences that we've made, obviously Nemesis is great for doing any speed builds. In addition to that, we have Captain Crimson's. This is going to actually increase her damage and give us extra resource cost reduction, although in the helm I put in a reduced cooldown, and that's going to give us increased damage from the bonus of the Captain Crimson. And I'm also running Royal Ring of Grandeur here. But as far as the cube goes, actually going back to the previous one, because that one, in the cube, this is the physical build. So we want the Petrified Spikes, so that's going to make it so Bone Spear costs 40 essence and deals 700% increased damage. The Resist Volition, so we're only using it for the secondary, where you gain 50% damage reduction if your essence is not full. And then Convention of Elements, just like every other build in Diablo for the most part when you're pushing those greater rifts. But now going into the cold, honestly, the Amulet or whatever I'm putting here is just optional. The S of Johann is just kind of nice because it clumps up everything, which Bone Spear will just kind of obliterate everything. But this is totally optional. You don't have to put this. I just put this one here to mention that you can literally run whatever you want to make the build a little bit faster. You can run the one where if you pick up gold, you can go faster. Like, you can do a lot of different things, but these are just the same. It's just because this makes things a little bit faster. And then I'm running Captain Crimson's set over here. And then, also another thing that I need to mention for the cold. As far as the passives go, we are running Dark Reaping, and we're running Fueled by Death. What this allows us to do is not have to cast our Grim Scythe pretty much at all. Once in a while, will run into the situation where you need to cast it a couple times. But let me go ahead and show you guys this build, which is the speed build. And we're running Blood Rush Metabolism instead, and that's going to give us 2 chargers. And this build is just so much faster over here, which you guys will see in just a moment. And this way we can just kind of teleport around. And then we'll go over some of the skills passives. Unfortunately, this is not the highest density here. I'm going to eliminate him. So I like this build a lot more. Again, it's just much better for T16, but if you really want to talk about speed, the Skelly Mages are still probably going to be like the most dominant. But I know because it's a new set, people want to at least have a few different ways to play the build. And I just like this one so much more because, again, you don't have to cast your Grim Scythe for the most part. But, I mean, you get the idea. It's pretty much the same build. It's just that we have a few different things to make things a little bit faster. But if you're pushing for the highest grade rift, you're not going to be able to upkeep the corpses that you absorb because you won't be eliminating them super fast. Let's go ahead and eliminate these enemies, and we'll go back to town, and I'll explain the differences in the passives here. Okay, so we're running Fueled by Death, so that's going to make it so every time we consume a corpse, we'll be getting extra movement speed, so that'll be nice. Again, this is for the speed build. And then Dark Reaping, this is going to grant us the ability to gain essence and life per kill. You can also use Reaper's Wraps. Technically, they've been nerfed with the most recent update as well, but that's pretty much the only changes here as far as our passives go. And then we're also running Devour, fourth Devouring Aura. What this is going to allow us to do is make it so we can just get extra essence here. And then for our Grim Scythe, it doesn't really matter. Again, you can select anyone that you want, but I mean, technically, the Frost Scythe is going to increase our attack speed, which will be kind of nice. But again, I very rarely will use that, but I would just equip it just in case, because otherwise you're not actually able to get past a door, which is actually kind of a problem with some builds in Diablo. But for the most part, it's the exact same thing. And then inside of the cube, again, the only difference was the S of Johan, because this is pretty much required. So this is the build for, again, the Masquerade of the Burning Carnival. This is the speed build. And you can, if you want to not run captains, feel free to go and do that. Reaper's Wraps can also be great. If you don't happen to have the resource, or if you don't happen to have this, again, early on when the next season starts, sometimes you just don't have everything at the immediate disposal. But this is the more meta build, and I think this is what people will mostly be playing if they want to play this. But again, I think that this build, as far as it stands right now, it's okay. Corpse Explosion actually has a little bit more potential for highest greater rift pushings, but in terms of right now, if we go up on the leaderboards, it's pretty much the same builds that we've been seeing. There is this Nayer's Black Death build, which is actually very strong as well, but Skelly Mage is still going to be relatively strong for, I think, a lot of different builds. You can see this build, the highest player, which is the exact build that I showed you guys, is this build over here, which is going to be, again, the physical one as of right now. But we'll wait and see. I think Poison has a little bit of potential too, as far as the runes go, just in case any of you guys want a theory craft. With the Poison rune, the reason why I say it has a lot of potential is because the damage is increased by 15% for each enemy Bone Spear passes through. There's no cap on this, so there could be some builds where people are going to group up in, like, you know, a huge density, and then obviously that's going to be massive amounts of bonus damage. But for the moment, currently physical is the strongest. But anyways, guys, that is indeed the newer Necromancer set and the newer changes with the newest update 2.6.9 or 2.6. Yeah, 2.6.9. But you guys can let me know your thoughts on the Necromancer's new set down below in the comment section below. Do you guys think it's really strong, or do you guys think that you're just going to be playing something else? For me personally, I think it's okay. I prefer the Pestilence with the speed builds. I think that it's overall better, again, if you're just looking at T16. But if you're looking to min-max, I think Skelly Mage is still very, very powerful, and it's also very fast, so it's kind of nice to go ahead and gear up for that. But we'll wait and see if they are going to be changing anything. If you guys think that they should change anything, let me know in the comment section below what they should actually change. But thanks for tuning in, guys, and if you guys haven't seen the new Demon Hunter build with the new Demon Hunter set, I'll pin that down below as well. But thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like on it, and if you're new here, hit subscribe and turn on that bell if you'd like to see more Diablo and other gaming content. And I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.